former mayor here who was never called weak. So we know that we can have strength in the position. And my position has always been, we probably need to revise the charter at some point, because the charter it really does hamstring the mayor in a lot of ways. It's supposed to be a strong city manager form of government, but I tried that, and we all know how that ended. So now I'm going to try it the other way, the way that he did. But the fact is that it is my intent, it is our intent, it is all of your intent to restate the vision of what this city is all about, and to stop being so splintered and balkanized. And when you go to the voting booth and you vote for the vision that you think is responsive to you, that will send a message to the rest of the elected officials. We want a strong showing at the polls that our way is the way that is the way of the heart, the way of the family, the way of reunification, and the way of the elimination of special interests running the city. And my position is a special interest in running the city in a very spotty way. And that's why we're so unhappy, because none of us can feel like we're being, well, if we're in that particular special interest group that week, we might be, but for the most part, and you know this, because it's like any other organization that you're in. The good of the whole is the good of the individual, and when we are just favoring certain people to the detriment of the rest of the population here, we are not serving ourselves. We are not serving our children. We are creating more divisiveness. A very good example of what I'm talking about is when we had the Northwest Quadrant vote, which I opposed on the floor, because I want to go back into select infill and ecological preservation and cultural heritage preservation by not destroying every last piece of property we have for affordable housing. But I talked to people who live down in this part of town, and they said to me, we're bursting at the seams down here. You people don't get it. We need to have choices to be able to go on the other side of town if we want to. There's too many kids in our school. This is the only place we can afford to live. And so when I explained to this woman, who was very concerned that there was another way to do that without destroying what is your rightful heritage. This is a woman who came from a long-time Hispanic family here. By destroying your natural environment. We can do that by listening to you and having you help create the resolution to the problem. And she got very excited, because nobody wants to destroy all the land and the ecology and the habitat and the animals and use more water and build more infrastructure. And our police are stretched beyond their ability to handle what they're handling now, which is another reason for the affordable housing. We want them to come in and do community policing. And we want to get housing in all neighborhoods for them. So there is a better way, but we have to empower people themselves to do that, and not sit around and wait for the city to somehow make an arbitrary decision that they're going to override their planning commission 100% and look as though they're throwing a bone to some part of the community when it's really hurting the entire community. There's a better way, and we're going to use that better way.